Welcome, everyone, to another edition, a special edition of the Unofficial Commentators podcast. Your host, as always, JJ 98 and Paki, the man with the beard, the dude with the smile. Today we have a very special guest. I'm all about giving people opportunities, and today we're going to make an expert in MMA in Amaury. Amaury's going to be following us all through the show, talking and contributing. But before we get into his topic, Paki, what do you want to say to the people that are listening?
UFC 205 in New York. We've been waiting for this. I'm very excited about this event. That's why we're making it pretty much. We're dedicating some substantial time to UFC 205. To me, this is what UFC 200 was supposed to be like. I am completely in love with the card. My hopes are extremely over the roof about this event, and I'm extremely excited to talk about it, man.
Yeah, that's fine, but where can people listen to our podcast, buddy?
Podomatic.com, as always. You can even find us on Google, man. You just type Unofficial Commentators, and we'll pop up on Google. There's nobody else. We're the only ones. We're that unique. So Podomatic.com, you can favorite our podcast. And, as always, our YouTube channel, Unofficial Commentators. Follow it, subscribe to it, give thumbs up to the videos. Watch the videos, people. Come on. Give us some support here, man.
All right, so we talk a lot in these podcasts about our fantasy football league, which we'll talk about in a minute, the League of Haters. But today, like you mentioned, we're going to be talking about UFC 205, which is the long-awaited New York show. And I also mentioned that we have a special guest, Amaury, who's sitting there quietly, looking kind of lost, wondering what he's going to have for breakfast tomorrow. Amaury, tell the people that don't know you, what can we expect, man? Why are you here? Why are you our expert?
Well, I'm not wearing any pants. That's the first thing. And I'm not even an expert. I just like MMA. That's it.
Well, thanks for wasting our time. Get the hell off my podcast. Jerk. Well, Amaury I've known for a long time. We've been watching combat sports for quite a long while. And even though I'm passively following MMA and the UFC now, he's pretty in tune with what's going on, follows all the blogs and all the writers. And if I have to say something, I can also say that I think the idea of the whole Unofficial Commentators podcast started when Amaury was the commissioner of one of our fantasy baseball leagues. He would start doing these recaps, which I expounded upon one week where he couldn't do it, and then those became our weekly reviews, and from there we started doing these video reviews and so on and so forth. Here we are. So without further ado, my man, I got a couple of questions that I want to ask you about your expectations for UFC 205. So jumping right into it, hell of a card. We're going to talk about all of the fights briefly, just kind of touch on them, and hopefully, if all goes well, we can have you on a couple more times and we can discuss MMA in the future. But given the absolute snooze fest, man, how boring UFC 200 was, why should I even be excited about UFC 205?
One reason only. Conor McGregor. The fucking best MMA fighter. Yeah, the best fighter, period. Doesn't really matter if it's MMA, boxing, jiu-jitsu, ninja stripping, dancing, whatever. He's the best. He is the guy you want to watch, the guy you're going to want to pay $60 to see. Okay, if I was in New York, I would sell my ass off to go to that fight. I don't know what you're doing, Jay, but you should have sold your ass.
I would never sell my ass to watch Conor McGregor. I'm so sorry. It wouldn't
be the first time, Jay.
Jay, you are a hater. I actually saw an article saying that, or not saying, but asking the question, and it's a valid question. Is Conor McGregor the most, what's the word I'm looking for? The most, waited for fighter since Muhammad Ali?
No.
I lost the word.
Oh, yeah, I think I saw the article. I didn't read it because it seemed long, but he is, period. Again.
Period.
Why? Have you ever seen a boring McGregor fight?
Honestly, man, if you were to ask me, Conor McGregor fights are like watching Floyd Mayweather. I mean, for the most part, he's made his name off of fighting people that kind of step in and fight him. I mean, his biggest fights to now, Chad Mendes. I know that Jose Aldo was the one that got him a championship belt, but how many times did that get postponed until it finally happened? And then it was step in against Nate, where he looked really weak in anything that wasn't just standing there kicking and punching. And then the next one was more kicking and punching, and Nate couldn't take him down, but Nate isn't really a wrestler, man. He just kind of had to chase him all the time.
No, Jay, but wait a second. You're saying like it's just kicking and fighting. That's MMA, bro. Kicking and fighting is MMA.
Oh, I didn't say kicking and fighting. I said kicking and punching.
Kicking and punching, that's still MMA. The article said on Bleacher Report is Conor the biggest fighter since Ali. It's on Bleacher Report. It's a great article, and I believe he is. Even though Tyson to me was extremely, was a huge part of
is he
boxing.
The biggest fighter?
The way this guy sells himself.
I've taken bigger shits than Conor McGregor.
The way this guy sells himself. No, it doesn't matter. You're looking at the size. It's not about the size, man. It's about the influence. The way this guy sells himself and sells the fights.
My man, size matters.
I don't think we've seen in combat sports since Muhammad Ali.
Size matters, and if you don't believe it, ask yourself why you don't have a girlfriend.
So you prefer to see Wanderlei Silva over Conor McGregor?
But I mean, you went from Conor McGregor and his fast talking behind to talk about Wanderlei Silva, who doesn't even speak the language. I mean, give me someone in the realm of a Conor McGregor.
Size matters.
He's not even the biggest guy.
So you prefer to see Mark Hunt?
Yes, I would. I absolutely love those.
See Mark Hunt over Conor McGregor.
Dude, what's the difference between Conor McGregor and Mark Hunt? It's only like a 300-pound difference. He's the same guy. He kicks and he punches really hard. And those walk-away knockouts are amazing.
Amaury, we should do the podcast between us two. Let's mute this guy. Jesus Christ.
Oh, that would be so much fun. You guys fawning over Conor McGregor for hours on end.
Yeah, he's entitled to his opinion, but the thing is, Mark Hunt, as much as I love the guy, I like seeing him fight, I don't think there's anything that would bring you to see Mark Hunt other than his fight, With Conor McGregor, the guy talks so much shit that you either hate him or love him, but you're going to want to watch him. With Mark Hunt, you're going to be like, well, you know what? Ben Rothwell also hits hard. If I see Ben Rothwell, I'm going to see a knockout anyhow. You're not really going to, Mark Hunt is not the type of guy where you're actually going to want to pay $60. I mean, this is entertainment.
I will grant that, and that's why Mark Hunt isn't in the pay-per-views.
So we can move on to the card.
All right, go ahead. And then the topic,
I'm topic right here with this. Jay, do you agree this is the biggest MMA card we've ever had? Yes or no?
Yes.
Or at least top three.
Yes, okay, I'll agree with that.
Yes. There's not a single light heavyweight or heavyweight fight on the card, period. And it's one of the best cards ever. So there is no big guys. It's not about size when it comes to MMA. But, I mean, moving on to the entire card, I think Amaury made a strong point. The main reason why UFC 205 is so waited for is because Conor McGregor was supposed to be in UFC 200, and they didn't put him there. I think Conor McGregor, I think this should be one of the last things we should talk about because this is the main event. But Conor McGregor is the big ticket seller here. He always does what he's supposed to do to sell fights and sell events. I think he's going to break another pay-per-view record like he did for UFC before, and he's going to keep getting paid.
This is not all on him, man. People are going to watch because it's New York. They're going to watch because it's 205. Yes, he's part of it, but I don't think that the name on the headline is the one that's pushing me over. I mean, Amaury, we were talking about, this event beforehand, and what was it you mentioned there? I mean, tell me, I'm curious. At this point, they're putting all of their eggs in this 205 basket. They're giving you the best that they can possibly offer you. But this isn't the time where I believe they've had the most talent across all of the talent pool. So here's the thing I wanted to ask you, Amaury. Do you think that UFC missed its mark by doing, New York this late? Granted, it wasn't their choice. They wanted to be in New York before. But given the talent pool they have currently, did they miss their mark?
I don't think they necessarily missed their mark. I see this like Floyd versus Pacquiao. Floyd and Pacquiao, if they would have fought in 2008, maybe 2009, it would have been so much bigger. When they actually fought, everyone knew they were past their prime, and they were like, well, we're still going to watch because these are the two best boxers, ever. aside from Ali and Tyson, or there's other boxers as well. But people, they garnered interest. I think that maybe if 205 would have been, let's say, 180 or before, maybe it would have been bigger. But I don't think they exactly missed their mark either. Like, it's not definite because it's still going to be a big event. It's still going to bring in a whole bunch of revenue, and it still might even break in new barriers, bring in new fans, people from New York who maybe had never seen an MMA event or hadn't really focused on the UFC. They're still going to watch it. It's still going to be a success and still going to be pretty good for the industry.
Well, yeah, no doubt. And there's something that we have to take into consideration. The only reason why UFC had not done an event in Madison Square Garden is because they hadn't gotten any breakthrough on legalizing MMA in New York, and finally it happened. So it's not something you can blame on the UFC itself.
Yeah. Right, but I guess what I'm trying to say is you needed to do, if you're the UFC, you need to do better work in having more stars. I mean, there was a doubt that Conor McGregor would even be able to fight. So would the card have been equally as interesting or exciting if McGregor didn't make it because there was a supposed shin or calf or some kind of injury there? Expert, what do you think there?
No, I think maybe it wouldn't have been as interesting because you have to consider that, one, it's McGregor, and two, he's fighting for history. He's going to fight to become a two-division champion, and that's historic for any fan. So it's not just him fighting a regular match. It's not him fighting like another Nate Diaz, which was pretty cool. It's like history, And in a way, I do agree with you. They do need some help bringing in new stars, or at least making new stars. I think that the best sports league doing so has been the NBA. They market their players so well that, people, if you put LeBron James in front of a bunch of people, some are going to say, well, that's just another black person. But most will probably say, that dude probably plays basketball, and many will probably say that's LeBron James. Same probably with Curry. That's just another light-skinned dude. No, a lot of them are going to say that's Curry. Whereas if you put guys like McGregor, a lot of people are going to be like, well, that's just a dude with a lot of tattoos. Who the hell is this dude? We know him and because, we're fans, but out of the MMA circle of fans, a lot of people are not going to really recognize MMA fighters. And if you look at the card, for instance, if you put Tyron Woodley, people are going to be like, who? Stephen Thompson, Joanna, whatever her last name is, Chris Weidman, Joel Romero. Nobody knows those dudes. I mean, they even have Donald Cerrone on that card, who's pretty marketable because he uses the same gimmick with the cowboy thing, which could be marketable, but he's not really as big as their biggest stars like Conor, Ronda, and whatnot.
This last weekend...
that's an extremely interesting point.
Okay, expound.
I was going to say something, Jay. That's an extremely interesting point because the UFC has done a great job growing. There's even been some talent that's actually grown from the TUF reality shows, but they're not marketing their fighters. Conor McGregor has become what he is, not because of the UFC, but because of himself. So Conor McGregor has marketed himself. I think the UFC should learn a little bit from Don King. I mean, Don King in boxing pretty much was probably the best marketer ever for boxers. I mean, every boxer that went through Don King will become famous one way or another, or at least every heavy hitter. And we're not seeing that from the UFC. They have to market their players way more. Even Major League Baseball is starting to get into that now with Chris Bryant and Bryce Harper.
Bryce Harper.
Yeah, Bryce Harper. They're starting to market their players to make them famous because you need that to attract the public outside of the circle of the sport that you're doing. So right now, everybody in the UFC, in the MMA circle knows Conor McGregor. But if you go to any typical place where they don't see fighting, they're not going to know who Conor McGregor is.
Thing is, I think that's tougher for the UFC because fighters, they're independent contractors, pull a lot of weight. Cards are built around a single fighter. If a fighter becomes famous, start holding events for ransom. They're going to ask them for more shit, more, and it can get caught. Whereas, let's say in basketball, you can have a very famous player, but, you still need his 11 other teammates, and you still need the other team. So, in those sports, you can actually benefit from just having one that's really popular, but you're still going to need the whole team to actually make the league.
I think this is hot garbage. I have no idea what the hell you're talking about. In team sports, you can't be yourself. You can't let your personality show because you have to worry about the shield, the team, the decal, the helmet, the whatever they want to call it. In MMA, you're free to be yourself. Don't do drugs. Don't get caught by USADA. Yeah. Don't smoke weed. Other than that, say whatever the hell you want. I hear podcasts about MMA all the time, and they're always saying, why do these guys, win a fight, get a microphone put in their face, and they say, I'll fight whoever the hell I want, or whoever they want me to fight. Like, get in there and say who you want to fight. Challenge someone. Create a personality. This is all on them. I mean, The UFC is not stopping you from growing. It seems like the only few people that take this brass ring and kind of run with it are the people that we recognize now by name. The Conor McGregors, the Nick Diaz, et cetera, and so on and so on. And then there are other people that are just famous because of their credentials, GSP, Anderson Silva, yada, 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 yada. But they're not stopping them from growing. I mean, they may not be helping, but they're also not stopping. And on another note, I think they are helping. I mean, last event was in Mexico. They've had events in London. They've gone to Brazil over and over and over. They do Japan. They do China. Russia. Where's that Gustafsson from? Sweden or whatever the hell. I mean, they couldn't make the sport any more global if they tried. It's on the fighters, man, to get the attention that they feel that they've earned with their blood, sweat, and tears. And speaking of which, I mentioned that there was an event in Mexico last week. It was RDA versus Tonique El Cucuy Ferguson. I'm going to be honest with you, man. I didn't even watch that. I didn't. There was nothing there to really attract me. I think the product of the UFC right now is so diluted with events every weekend that it's difficult for me to get interested about this. So what does the UFC need to do now in 205 for this to be considered a success?
I think UFC 205, they already did what they had to do.
I mean, not a success at the bank, but in terms of getting the eyeballs to watch this event, and furthermore, getting them to watch the event that comes after it.
They better hope for a whole bunch of knockouts.
I don't want to hear this crap about they better hope. Yeah. Like, what are they doing to keep me interested beyond 205?
I'd say that they'd actually have to market their fighters or help them market themselves or, put that big UFC marketing development team behind them. But they really need to make people recognize at least those fighters. They need to make people remember those fighters because it's something we talked about before. Now, UFC, we watch it for entertainment. I don't really give up about the sport or the athletic ability of the fighters. I watch it to entertain. When I watch UFC, I choose to spend 3 or 4 hours watching people kill themselves, fight each other, rather than just, watch a movie, watch basketball, play video games, go out, or do whatever. So this is entertainment. So you really need to be able to put a product that is going to be able to entertain you, but that you're actually going to be able to remember and want to watch again. And I think the easiest way to do that, or the most favorable way, would be to actually make memorable fighters, make you want to actually be invested in those fighters, and make you actually want to see them again, And I think that's part of one of the problems that comes with having so many events that you got so many guys fighting in and out that you barely remember their names, You can see the best knockout possible, but guess what? Next week you're going to see a better knockout, or you're going to see a knockout that's very similar. You're going to have whatever went through your week in your head as well, and so you're probably going to forget, or you're not going to be, remembering that knockout. So they really need to market those fighters.
And speaking of knockouts, man, there's a thing that I've been noticing, and it's like watching an undercard in boxing where all those hungry fighters, they hear the bell ring and they go straight for each other's heads and they start swinging. When you get the talent that's going to be displayed on 205, these are fighters that are so calculated and so technical that, you spend 2 out of 3 rounds measuring, how you want to approach this fight, how you want to strike, and you don't really get much happening. Like, for as much talk about the hatred that fighters like Daniel Cormier and John Jones had back in, when they fought, I believe that was 2015 in January, that fight to me was so boring. I mean, it wasn't even like a Gustafsson John Jones where I don't know whether they hate each other or not, but they were really fighting to win a fight. These guys were just kind of like holding and breathing and pausing. What the hell? I mean, I don't want to watch this fight, or this card rather, after all this time, and then have people like Eddie Alvarez and Conor McGregor measuring each other, throwing 2 punches and running away for the greater part of each round.
I think you're getting ahead of yourself. I mean, and let's not forget, we've only focused on Conor McGregor. This card is stacked, and I mean, we have to, we have to get into the topic of the title of the fights in general. There's a lot of good fights here, man, and it's not just Conor McGregor, and we can't get ahead of ourselves and expect them to be slow or whatever. I mean, a good fight is not always a knockout. That Conor McGregor Nate Diaz fight, the second one, went to 5 rounds, and that was an awesome fight. I mean, if you didn't like it personally, then that's your opinion, bro. But as a fight fan, there's nothing more you can ask for from a fight. That was an excellent fight, and we saw 2 guys just literally battle it out for 5 rounds.
Yeah, I saw a lot of running there.
And not just that, I don't think Eddie Alvarez, he used to put up really fun fights. Like, when he used to fight in Bellator, he used to had the trilogy, I think it was against Michael Chandler. Those fights were pretty cool. They were pretty entertaining. I think they all went the distance, but they were fun. And, again, Conor McGregor, this time he's not fighting at 170. He's fighting at 155. So, and you take into consideration that his fights at 145 were all pretty much finishes, I'm going to go with the chance here and say that he's going to probably finish this fight.
Hey, bro,
well.
you're fighting midgets, man. You're fighting midgets.
Well, Tyron Woodley, I digress. He's not really a midget, and he knocked out Robbie Lawler.
And
Robbie
midgets
Lawler had some of the most amazing fights, and he fucked them up.
Midgets that take these fights on short notice, a.k.a. Chad Mendes and so on and so forth. Paki seems really interested in talking about some of these fights on the card. So by all means, man, I have more questions about UFC 205, but I can put those off for later. Where do you guys want to start, man? I have the card pulled up here. We have early prelims, we have Fox Sports 1, and we have the main card.
Yeah.
Do you want to discuss the early prelims?
I don't want to discuss the early prelims because, I mean, besides Jim Miller, Thiago Alves, and maybe Liz Carmouche, there's not much to talk about. But what I do want to talk about in the prelims...
By the way...
That's 3 out of 4 fighters, right?
Yeah, I mean, you talked about everyone. So you're interested in everyone who's in the early prelims?
There's 6 fights, man.
No, those are the prelims.
Fights.
The early prelims are the ones that start at 4 o'clock.
Yeah, I'm talking about prelims, not early prelims. Nobody knows those guys. But preliminaries. Frankie Edgar's in the preliminary card. He's the main event of the preliminary card. To me, that was disrespectful, man.
I've never heard of a...
I mean, I want to know what you...
A main event of a prelim.
I want to know what you guys think about that, because... Well, the last fight in the preliminary card.
Oh, that's actually how they're booked, though. Because, those prelims are on national TV or Fox Sports, whatever. So they're actually, quote-unquote, billed as the main event.
They're free.
But
the ones I don't have to pay $60 for.
Yeah. I don't know if it was disrespectful, but I'm seeing the actual main card, and I think it should have gone... Like, I would have replaced Miesha Tate and Raquel Pennington with Frankie Edgar and Jeremy Stevens, in my opinion.
A million times, yes.
Miesha is... like Frankie, a former champ, and, she's a woman, too. So even though Joanna's up there as well, but you got to mix it up. So maybe, I don't know if it was political correctness or whatever, they just kept Miesha. Or Misha's probably even more popular than Frankie, arguably. Maybe not in New York, but worldwide she's probably more well-known. One fight from the prelims that did impress me is Vicente Luque versus Bilal Mohammed, because... you look at the whole card, and if you're an MMA fight fan, you're going to recognize the names, except for these two. Like, I don't even know who those dudes are. So, That was impressive. Those two, they should be really happy. They should be like, you know what? We're going to get a chance to fight at 205. New York, lots of people wanted to be here, and we're there. So, congrats to them.
Well, the good
Frankie Edgar.
Go ahead.
Yeah, they have Khabib Nurmagomedov. How do you say that name? Do you know how to say that name? Nurmagomedov? Does anybody know?
I'll let you finish.
Khabib and Michael Johnson. By the way, Khabib actually went on a rant, and he said that if he doesn't get a title fight soon, he is going to use his political power to actually sabotage any UFC event in Russia. Is that even fair? I mean, come on, man.
Okay.
Yeah,
it sounds like blackmail, and it also sounds like absolutely nothing. That's like Ronda Rousey saying that this is going to be one of her last fights. What the hell does that mean? It could be one of her last 20 fights, last 10. Like, what does that mean? One of her last fights. Okay, well, you're going to fight for another 7 years, but this will be one of your last fights. Okay.
I think you're reading too much into it. But moving on, Frankie Edgar, I think should take care of Jeremy Stephens pretty easy in that card. I expect a first round finish. Frankie Edgar, to me, is probably one of the most underrated MMA fighters right now. I think it's not even fair that he's being taken like this. So I think
hell no. When the hell was the last time Frankie Edgar finished any fight?
It doesn't matter.
He's a point fighter.
He's going up against.
Now, Jeremy Stephens is not a pushover, and he's going to come out there and jab a whole hell of a lot. A first-round finish, out your damn mind.
We'll see. That's my prediction.
Actually, we might be pretty surprised. I mean, like Jeremy Stephens, my bad. He's a midget, as Jay would call him, but he hits like a fucking.
No, not me. That's McGregor
So,
or Nate Diaz, one of those two guys.
Oh, Jeremy Stephens is also. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if Jeremy Stephens gets lucky and knocks Frankie out. I mean, Frankie's been in a lot of wars. You know, that chin's got to break sometime, man. I think Jeremy could take it.
That's what happened to Robbie.
And as Jay said, Frankie doesn't really knock out that many people. I mean, like, you're going to say, oh, yeah, but he knocked out Chad Mendes. But so did Conor. Conor whipped that.
How about BJ Penn?
So come on, really, like a 50-year-old BJ Penn.
Really?
Guy.
I think you guys are. I think maybe I'm on. Maybe I'm
underestimating right now, you're acting like Cousin Juan, where he thinks like players don't age. Like BJ Penn was old as hell when he fought Frankie Edgar the third time, and the first two times he didn't knock him out. He fought him to decision. He's a point fighter. He'll jab you a whole hell of a lot. He's a wrestler. Chad Mendes is a wrestler, by the way, who doesn't even box. Like, at least Edgar boxes. So with Chad Mendes, he doesn't put up his hands where he can get caught.
I think you. I don't know if I expressed myself wrong, or maybe you guys heard wrong, but I said finish in the first round. A finish is a finish. It's not necessarily a knockout.
Okay, so what are you expecting?
I said he'll take care of him in the first round.
A submission, maybe?
It could be a submission. It could be a TKO. It could be a KO. I think that fight doesn't go past the first round. That's my opinion.
All right. Well, your opinion is wrong.
That's the only fight. Yeah.
I think actually.
Your opinion is wrong.
If Jeremy doesn't knock out Frankie, I think that's probably going to be one of the most boring fights. They're lucky that Khabib is also on the card, so he's probably going to be trying to make a really boring fight. He's probably going to make Michael Johnson question his life. Michael Johnson's going to be like in his corner, like, what am I doing here? What did I get into? Why did I fight the Russian? He's going to be bored out of his mind.
I'm looking at the headshot, and Khabib looks extremely pissed off, man. He is. I have him destroying Michael Johnson.
Pissed off. Have you ever seen a picture of Cuban?
I'm trying to say racially sensitive, but he looks really fucking pissed.
And it's funny because that's another fight that could have made a main card also. I mean, I overlooked it a little bit, but that's a card. Khabib could be in the main card. I think he's a little bit exaggerated. No, not in this one, of course. But
this is what I'm saying.
Misha Tate. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not convinced about Miesha Tate being in the main card.
Hey, man, whatever you want to say about Miesha Tate, but here's my point that I was trying to make earlier about the card, right? You say Frankie Edgar could headline a fight night, whatever, in the future. Probably the event after that. By the way, there's a December event in Albany. That's also New York. You could have had Frankie Edgar there, or Khabib doing a fight night, or even a UFC challenging for the title. So they're putting all of these fighters on the same card, and what happens a lot of the times, I notice, like, if these fighters get a 3-month suspension, they'll be back around getting another fight in 3 months. So they keep getting used at the same time. So you're putting all your eggs in one basket, then you come next week and you have another event with absolutely no one that anyone wants to watch. What's the point? Like, why am I interested in all these other fights?
There's still
you're putting all your eggs in one basket,
I think we're
205
I think we're
might
just,
be one of the most
going along in
events.
this a lot. Well, sorry to interrupt you, Amaury. I think we're just going a lot around in the same thing. Why do you want to watch UFC? Why do you want to watch UFC 205? Why do you want to watch it? Well, there's a lot of fighters left, man. They're trying to get the best.
I'm a skeptic.
Trying to get the best card possible, and the preliminaries are free. So, well, that's you, man. You're a skeptic, man. You're a freaking hater. That's why. I mean, you're skeptic about Conor McGregor. There's absolutely nothing the UFC can do for you, JJ, to convince you that UFC is good if you're not convinced with Conor McGregor. I'm sorry to tell you. I'm sorry to burst your bubble. There's nothing that can be done. That's their best card. That's like their fourth batter, and if it was a lineup. That's their shooter. That's their guy.
Yeah.
That's their quarterback, Conor McGregor. And you're not buying into it.
Opponents.
So you're in the wrong sport.
He's cherry picking opponents. He's the Floyd Mayweather of UFC. All right, so nothing to see really.
Cherry picking.
Cherry picking, that's
Cherry
right.
picking.
Correct.
A champion.
Cherry picking.
Yep.
He picked Nate Diaz when he wasn't even supposed to pick Nate Diaz.
Okay.
He knew
lost.
his career would have gone to fucking flames. Not the second time.
I'm
talking about the second time. If he would have lost the second time, his career would have gone to trash.
What was the result? Hold on. What was the result of the first fight?
He called out he called out Dos Anjos, and Dos Anjos backed out. He
whatever.
Called out Aldo. Conor McGregor has never backed out from anybody.
Right.
How do you say cherry picking? He's picking the champions.
The fights that he has are with a bunch of bums.
And you know what I want to happen? I hope Wonderboy Thompson wins the title, because if Wonderboy wins the title and Conor McGregor wins this title, I bet you I'm almost positive that Conor McGregor is going to call out Wonderboy, and they're going to have that fight. And that fight's going to be even bigger than this event. What?
I think he retires. If Conor wins, he retires. He's going to make the UFC throw him crazy amounts of money at him. They're going to be like, Conor, please come back. We need you in the sport. Please. He's going to retire.
You know why I don't think he's going to retire? Because he's still in his prime. He likes money too much. He's just going to become harder to negotiate with. I agree with you. I agree there.
That's the point. He's not going to retire for sure.
He's obsessed with money.
He has more money.
He's going to fight till he's 40. He's going to be Anderson Silva. No. He's going to fight till he's 40, even if he sucks later on, because he likes money too much.
It's reasonable. What he's doing, it's reasonable. I mean, like, in every sport, you have a limited window to make money. We've all heard that since we're fans, like everything. We've always heard it. In fighting, you have even a smaller window, because you're going to have someone in front of you whose sole purpose is to put you out. You know, the other person doesn't care if he knocks you out and causes a concussion that kills you, breaks your legs, chokes you out and kills you. You know, you're literally having someone who's probably going to take away from your small window of time to make money. So, fucking do it, Conor. Get the money.
No, I agree with it. I'm all in. All right. And I know he's gonna get so much money if he ever gets put on the board. But I'm getting way ahead of myself. The other match I'm going to talk about is that same matchup, since we're already on it. I know we're jumping up and down around the card. I'm sorry.
All right, so hold on. Let me
jump to the topic.
Let me pull these reins a little bit. Let's get this back together. All right. So early prelims, we have Carmouche versus Chukijin. I can't even say that. Then there's Jim Miller and Thiago Alves. At this point, whatever with those two. The two dudes you mentioned, Luque and Muhammad. Okay.
Them.
We have Tim Bosch and what's this guy's name? Rafael Natal? Rafael Natal?
Again, not really the fight you care about either.
Nah, just kind of filler. Just I hope they go out there and beat the crap out of each other. All right. So then we have Nurmagomedov. Say what now?
Yeah, Natal and Simbowish can put a fun fight, but yeah, it's a filler.
Yeah, okay. I mean, that's what fillers are there for. They go out, they try to, swing for the fences and make a name for themselves. All right, so then we have Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Michael Johnson. All right, so we already picked Khabib.
That's gonna be fun to watch.
Kind of as an outstanding favorite.
Not really.
Well, Amaury thinks that Khabib is too rigid. Michael Johnson is a little bit flashy,
Khabib
but
is boring.
I mean, is he boring as a fighter? Because people seem to be really afraid of him.
Everything.
All right, so then we talked about Frankie Edgar and Jeremy Stevens. Paki gave his prediction. I think he's dead wrong. All right, so we talked about all of the prelims, even though it was jumped, and we went back and forth and all over the place. Main card starts at 10 o'clock in New York. 3 title fights. And if all of these title fights go to a decision, man, when is this damn event going to end? It's going to be like 3 in the morning. We're still going to be watching fights. I don't think I can stay up that late, man. I'm an old man at this stage. So the first fight, if they follow this order, is going to be Miesha Tate going up against, is it Raquel Pennington?
Yeah, Raquel.
All right.
It's pretty interesting because Miesha was like her coach in one of the toughs against Rousey. She was like the coach. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah,
that's all you got for me?
I think
it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll tell you this much: if there's a fight in this entire card that's a sure thing, it's this one. I think Miesha Tate should win this match easily. I think Pennington lacks the experience to fight Miesha. I mean, unless you're Ronda Rousey or now the new champion, what's her name, Nunes?
Amanda Nunes.
Yeah. There's no way you're gonna beat Miesha Tate. Miesha Tate has looked superior to absolutely everybody she's fought that's not named Ronda Rousey and, well, Amanda Nunes. And I think that's because she wasn't very smart about how she approached the fight. It's not because she couldn't beat her. But I think Miesha Tate should easily handle this fight. I'm not going to give a specific round because it's hard to predict rounds with women since, women don't finish fights that often. But I think Miesha should pretty much. Yeah, I think Miesha should pretty much
say bitches be crazy.
I think Misha's gonna wipe the mat with Raquel. So
who am I
think
hosting the show with?
Match.
The Intolerant. What the hell?
My God.
All right, so is Raquel
what
Pennington?
Intolerance did I say?
It's Raquel Pennington going up against female Uriah Faber, and you got female Faber winning this one.
I digress. I mean, she did win the title though. Faber number 1.
I don't know why Jay's such a hater. Why would you call her? Uriah Faber has never fought how Miesha Tate fought Holly Holmes. Are you crazy? That was Miesha Tate's peak moment of her career.
Excuse me?
I've never seen Uriah Faber put a performance like that in UFC. Excuse me? Yes, you heard me.
In UFC, my man, you need to do some homework, man. Uriah Faber wins every fight except the title fight, and he's fought for the title like 5 times. I mean, this dude is a beast.
Yeah.
Stop playing yourself.
Yeah, don't give me Bellator on Uriah Faber because this is a UFC event. I don't care. And Miesha Tate was also a beast in Strikeforce, except for when she fought Ronda Rousey. So
don't ever play yourself.
I don't think Uriah Faber.
They're the gatekeepers of their division.
I don't think Uriah Faber is a better fighter than Miesha Tate. No, that's disrespectful to Miesha Tate.
All right.
Uriah Faber has never been a champion. Miesha Tate has.
He hasn't been a champion in UFC.
She's not a Uriah Faber, but she is a gatekeeper at this point. I don't see her challenging again for the title.
I agree with that.
I don't even see Holly challenging again for the title, for that matter. I think Amanda would take them both out again.
So you guys took the really long way to still agree with me. Both of you can take turns sucking my ass.
No, I don't agree with you.
Whatever
I don't
the fuck
agree
ever.
with you. I think Miesha Tate is way above Uriah Faber career-wise.
At 170 pounds, number 5 ranked Kevin Gastelum is fighting number 6 ranked Donald Cerrone, the Cowboy. And the big question here is, how many pounds over is Kevin Gastelum going to be?
8.
8. That's like one of those I don't give a crap. That's a I don't give a crap weight. I just don't give a shit.
Let's hope he actually makes it on weight. Honestly, I think this fight might kind of be a little bit boring because it has.
All I know is Cerrone. Yeah, go ahead, Archer.
Oh, Cerrone's amazing. I like seeing the guy fight, but I don't think at 170 he's going to have the power to actually knock out Kevin Gastelum or take him down and submit him. So I think, you're going to see some striking, some grappling against the fence, clinching and whatnot. But I don't think they're actually going to knock each other out or submit each other. So it's probably going to be a decision.
The hell?
And, I actually don't even like watching those fighters fight together because to me, I like both the dudes, so I would have rather see them fight different people.
Yeah, I think Kevin Gastelum is super boring. He's kind of those dudes that just kind of lay and prey on you. Donald Cerrone has got so much better. It looks so much crisper at 170. He's fighting. He's putting together combinations. I totally disagree with what you say. However, this is a fight. This is one of those fights where I kind of see like a grappler versus a striker. I see Cerrone, kicking and swinging and doing all that dynamic striking, while Gastelum kind of finds a way to get in his guard and just kind of prey on him and just press him out. Who looks healthier? You're breaking up there, Paki. You say something? All right. Well, Pac.
The mannequin challenge.
You read my mind, man. Right in the middle of that.
If that happens, Gastelum is done. Cerrone is a submission mastermind. I mean, Cerrone will take him out on the floor. There's no way Gastelum can beat him there. I think Cerrone can also beat him standing up. It's been clear he's been pretty good at welterweight. He's had 3 good fights, all by stoppage. I don't expect this match to go to decision either, and I expect Cerrone to win it.
Wow. Okay.
Fair enough.
Number 2 ranked Chris Weidman going up against number 4 ranked Joel Romero at 185 pounds. Chris Weidman looks sickly in this picture right here, while Joel Romero looks like he's 304 pounds of solid muscle. How do you see this one going, guys?
Honestly, I think the Chris beats him, but it's not really because he's better than Yoel. It's because Yoel is going to gas out after the first round, and the Chris does have a little bit more stamina. Other than that, one other possibility is Yoel knocking him out during the first round, and that would be amazing. I would love to see that because I don't like the Chris.
Has Weidman fought after he lost to Rockhold?
Stay off the team. Nope, this is his actual next fight.
Damn, so he fought almost a year apart from his last fight.
Yep.
I mean,
that's the problem. That's one of the reasons. Go ahead.
No, you finish your thought.
That's one of the reasons I kind of don't like the Chris, because the Chris fights, he'll win a match. He's like Velasquez, Okay, I won the title, and you know what? I'll see you in a year, UFC. Bye. So then you got all these other guys in the division that they're kicking ass and whatnot, and you're like, well, they're not going to fight the champion because the champion has hemorrhoids in his ass. What the hell?
Well, I don't understand why you have to be that explicit. Where else would you have hemorrhoids? Okay, so Chris Weidman, I saw him fight Anderson Silva and beat him in 2013 in the summer. And then he rematched him and beat him again. I don't know how do you call that so much a win or no contest.
Points Vegas. No, he has.
In December. And then after that, I saw him fight, Machida? And after that point, I don't remember any other fights. So that's like 3-4 fights with the Rockhold fight since 2013. I like Weidman only because, he's part of Serra's camp, and I like those old school fighters. I love Matt Serra, man, those old school underdogs. Romero looks like he's hungry as hell, and he's just going to beat the crap out of him. I don't know, man. He did not look good to me against Rockhold. Maybe he got surprised, but if Romero just kind of dominates him for 2 rounds again, I wouldn't be surprised either.
I think against Rockhold,
I think
Chris
Romero
was doing some diet stuff.
He still looks sickly.
Like he was skinnier.
No, I was just gonna say I think I think Romero's speed is gonna be a factor. Romero is a lot faster than Whiteman, and I think that could be a factor for him to get a finish before he gets tired. Yeah, I think Joel Romero can have a really good upset against Whiteman. Whiteman cannot take a punch, and he's coming back from neck surgery. I don't know. I mean, wait, I didn't mean that like that. Whiteman can take a punch. He wasn't able to take a punch his last match, and now he's coming back from surgery after a year off. I don't know how tough his chin is. I'm not confident. Joel Romero is on a hot streak right now.
We agree that if Yoel does not gas, he can take him? Because Yoel is actually amazing at grappling, too. He's like an Olympic judo, whatever.
Silver medalist. Wrestling silver medalist.
The Chris cannot bully him. He's not going to be able to take him down like he probably did Anderson, you know? It's not going to go like that. It's going to be very different.
The Chris.
These are two guys with very similar strength when it comes to one-punch power. I just think Joel Romero has better speed. He's better equipped to land Whiteman before Whiteman lands on him, if that makes any sense to you guys.
At 115 pounds, the champion, Joanna Jędrzejczyk versus Karolina Kowalkiewicz. Good grief. What the hell did I just say?
Wow, you were able to say it.
Two girls from Poland. Both of them are undefeated. What can we expect out of the what do you even call this weight division? Strawweight, the strawweight title.
Strawweight.
Expert, tell me something about these girls.
If you didn't know, all right, go ahead, Amaury. You go first.
No, I was gonna say typical Joanna performance, which is a bunch of crazy strikes, a bunch of strikes. You know, I haven't really seen much from Karolina, and you know, I don't think she has what it takes to take down or defeat Joanna.
Yeah,
not really that interested in this fight.
Supposedly, these girls go way back in Poland. They had some when they were amateurs. I heard they got to technically prove, and they could reach the upsell. But it's interesting to see that they're both from the same country. They're similar age. And Joanna Jędrzejczyk, she's a beast, man. I mean, to me, she's like the Mighty Mouse of female fighting. Is that a fair comparison? I mean, the speed that this girl has is not even close to anybody that she's fought before. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I haven't seen much from Karolina, but she seems too much of a nice girl to take out this beast, Joanna. Joanna's just a bully. So again, I expect Joanna to keep her title in this matchup, and I'm gonna go with the favorite on that one too.
Joanna has the advantage in significant strikes landed per minute, 6.36 to 5.98. Her accuracy is better, and her defense overall is much better. Also, she favors the knockout. 33% of her fights, that's 1/3 of each fight, 1 in 3, have ended by knockout for Joanna, while 70% of Karolina fights go to decision. So if she meaning Karolina, wants to outlast Joanna, but still takes punches while that's happening, it's not going to be a good night for Karolina Kowalkiewicz.
At all. I'm impressed you could say the name, bro. Wow.
I can read, man.
Oh, and we saw.
I can read, but I
really
can't say the name.
Like, Joanna should start doing better promotion, and she's just like making T-shirts. Like, I survived a fight against Joanna, because you see the girls after they fight with Joanna, Valerie Letourneau, Jessica Pena, Carlos Barca, and they looked fucked up. Like, damn.
This is the expert analysis that I bring Amaury in for. They look fucked up.
Yeah. Like, honestly, if I was Joanna, I'd probably be in business with a plastic surgeon. Look, I'm going to fuck him up. You repair him. Make mad money.
Welterweight title on the line, 270-pounders. We have a champion, Tyron Woodley. His nickname is the Chosen One. I'm going to call him Tyron Sucker Punch Woodley versus Wonder Boy, Stephen Thompson. Man, this is one of the fights that I'm most excited about. Guys, break it down.
Is it fair to say Sucker Punch Woodley?
No, I mean, I'm pretty sure Robbie saw it coming, but still, he landed pretty hard. It was kind of a disappointing fight, man. I think I blinked and it was over. But has he won that many fights that way? I don't know. I don't know if I trust that to be like a trend.
What do you mean?
That he keeps winning like with a one-punch knockout, just kind of punch and walk away? Nah, I don't see that happening that often.
But the power is there, you know.
I guess, but he doesn't seem to me like an imposing power puncher like Robbie was, or an imposing, power striker slash wrestler like forget his name, Big Rig, Johnny Hendricks. Yeah.
I'll say this much about Tyron Woodley. I think Tyron Woodley was in the right moment at the right time. It was a matter of time before Robbie Lawler got taken out. Poor Robbie Lawler. The beatings. What?
Yeah, they were
the
wars, man.
That Robbie Lawler had taken up to that match and survived, because you got to give him credit. Robbie Lawler is a fucking animal.
It was accumulated, punishment, and he would fight often too. It wasn't like every time he could get a chance to fight, he would fight. There wasn't like ever a layoff.
The human body can only take so much. It was a matter of time that Robbie Lawler was going to fight. It doesn't matter if it was going to be Tyron Woodley, whoever he fought. So, I think Tyron Woodley benefited from the situation.
All right, but guys, give me some information. Show me some love for these two fighters. We're talking about Rig and Lawler. Yeah. Amaury, tell me who's going to win this and why.
I think it's a close review for like the Chris Weidman versus Yoel Romero match, in the sense that if Tyron Woodley does not gas out, he's going to be able to out-wrestle, and he's going to be able to probably knock out Stephen Thompson. That said, it depends on his cardio. I think Thompson has better cardio, and his karate, ninja things, it makes him a little bit more elusive, harder to hit, which might make Woodley actually gas out, chasing him around and trying to do that. But, when Woodley knocked out Josh Koscheck, that shit looked impressive. That was pretty cool. And as you already said, the Robbie Lawler one and whatnot. So I think the power is there. If he does connect, it's going to be lights out for Stephen Thompson.
But I love Stephen Thompson's footwork, man.
I'm going to tell you something. Stephen Thompson proved to me, I kept rooting against him in every fight, not because I have anything against him. I just
you're stupid, and now you're a front runner.
God, give me patience. All right, I thought Rory was going to be able to take him. I thought Johnny Hendricks was going to be able to take him for similar reasons that you just mentioned. Tyron Woodley, if he lands a hit. And I saw Rory land hits on him, and I saw Johnny Hendricks land some bombs on Stephen Thompson, and he did not fall. So it's proven to me personally that Stephen Thompson has the chin to take heavy bombs and not fall, or at least not get knocked out. And to me, that bodes well for him against anybody in this division, seeing that Robbie Lawler has already been pretty much wasted out from all the fights, because Robbie Lawler is a different story. So I think Stephen Thompson should be winning this match. His footwork, you said it, it's impressive. And if you've seen all his fights, he has been getting better amazingly each fight, one after the other. I think we're going to see the best performance. He's been waiting for this title fight. He deserves this title fight. And the way he keeps his distance with his kicks is going to make Tyron Woodley chase after him all match. And we know Tyron Woodley's cardio is a question mark, because he hasn't had many fights go the distance, and the ones that do go the distance, he hasn't done well in them. So if Stephen Thompson manages to keep the distance, which I think he can, he's going to have Woodley chasing, he's going to get him tired, and he's going to hit him with one of those crazy kicks. And I don't know if he's going to knock him out or get a TKO, but he is going to get some heavy punches on Tyron Woodley. Not punches, some heavy hits. I think it's going to be hard. It's hard to beat the champion by decision, but I think Stephen Thompson has the tools to do so if he doesn't finish it first. So I think Stephen Thompson is going to be the new welterweight champion of the world after this matchup. Yeah.
I don't want to make it a habit of correcting you, but let's not call them hits. This isn't baseball. Heavy strikes. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. I love the footwork. I mentioned that earlier. You mentioned the fact that Tyron Woodley's cardio is questionable, and Stephen Thompson is not just going to stand there, take your best punch, and then counter-attack like a Robbie Lawler would.
Exactly.
I agree with you. He's going to be chasing him all day. Can cardio get better over time? I don't know, man. I'm out of shape as it is. I have no idea how the hell cardio works. But I don't know. I like the sound of and new champion. I'm going for Stephen Thompson
cardio
this
can
one.
get better. Cardio is not something that you necessarily lose with age or anything like that. Cardio is something that simply has to do with your personal stamina. Tyron Woodley has a lot of muscles. When you have a lot of muscles, if you look at the big muscle fighters, most of them struggle with the cardio. If you look at the heavy punchers, most of them struggle with cardio because it takes out a lot to swing and miss. And I can see Tyron Woodley swinging and missing a lot in this matchup. I mean, Stephen Thompson is amazing. I expect him. I don't think he's peaked. I don't even think he's peaked. And the best part about Stephen Thompson, he has a hell of a takedown defense. I would not be surprised if I see Tyron Woodley in the second or third round, if he makes it that far, trying to get some takedowns to get some points if he's desperate when he can't land any bombs. And he's gonna struggle there too, because Stephen Thompson has proven, he proved it against Johnny Hendricks, that he has some really good takedown defense.
Right.
So I just see like.
Yeah, you see no way for Woodley to beat him. Okay. So
yeah, I don't see it.
The next fight to cover is the. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say you mentioned Johnny Hendricks, and is Johnny a good reference anymore? I mean, like I think Robbie Lawler, the loss against Lawler, which I think shouldn't have gone Lawler's way, but I was
ruined his life.
Ruined him.
I think that took its soul. That took Johnny Hendricks' soul. I mean, Johnny hasn't been the same fighter. I mean, he even missed the fight because he couldn't make weight. He kind of passed out, I think, before the weigh-ins and whatnot, and he couldn't actually even – his fight was canceled that same day. Like, Johnny Hendricks, he needs to get his shit together.
Yeah, I don't think he ever will.
He used to be like a really fun fighter to actually watch, but
he was one of my favorites, to be honest. And he had the beard, similar to me, so I was able to relate.
Yeah, it was one of your favorites, because you're a front runner.
Well,
yeah, when I was runner, I'm a front runner. Yeah, so
who also has a beard. So it's a race thing now.
Oh damn! I was gonna go McGregor. Oh, Woodley has a beard. Okay. I thought we were going McGregor there.
Not the same type of beard. Not the same type of beard. But I used Johnny Hendricks as a reference in regards to his wrestling, not as the fight per se. Because the way Johnny Hendricks got knocked out against Stephen Thompson, there's no way Johnny Hendricks would have gotten knocked out like that before he had a title fight with Lawler. So I know what you mean. He got his soul taken out, definitely. But the wrestling was there.
Took his soul.
All right, so there's only one more fight.
He went Shank Tsung on him.
Damn, is there like a buzzer I can press? Shut up, guys. There's one more fight to talk about. It's McGregor-Alvarez. But before we get into that one, I have a question for you. What is your opinion, and take turns, what's your opinion here on a champion defending, many times over versus the way we kind of have it now where champion is a revolving door? So, Paki, kick this one off. Okay, he's doing the mannequin challenge. Amaury, kick this one off.
Mannequin challenge. No, I don't mind this at all. Like, having both fighters, instead of defending, go ahead and fight each other, I don't. Because, we used to have guys like, I don't know, GSP, Silva, Jose Aldo. They used to have a lot of title defenses, and that was it. And then, you always dreamed about having the super fight, and you never actually got it. So at least this time, we're actually allowed to have two champions finally fight each other. So from that perspective, I'm actually pretty glad.
Yeah, I don't think you addressed the question, though. My question is, do you prefer the intrigue of, is this going to be the guy to finally topple the champion many times over, or... Oh, we lost Paki. Or do you prefer the way that it changes hands that often? I'm going to try to get him back. You can go ahead and start your answer.
But why do you want the title to actually change hands every time?
What do you mean?
Like, why do you actually care if the title actually changes hands, or if they defend it or whatnot. Like, we're trying to get here.
Give me a second. Do you hear that ringing?
Not really. Oh,
only I hear it? Okay.
Yeah, I get the little message that you're calling him, but...
He's going to be so mad if he doesn't get a chance to talk with McGregor. This guy.
Canceled calling to Paki.
Yeah, give me 1 second. So, I used to think that the intrigue of, is this the guy who's finally going to beat Anderson Silva, or if this the guy who's finally going to beat GSP, I found that as something that I really wanted to, be a part of, to presence while it was happening. What's going on with this guy? And now,
I think that
and there's also something to be said for the excitement of, anybody can win at any moment, but the way that it changes hands, like you only get to see these champions have like these 1 month short title runs. It's almost unimpressive to me in a sense.
In a way, it is. Like, I actually do like having champions with a couple title defenses underneath them, because it makes the champion seem more impressive, and it actually makes in my own opinion, it makes the title seem harder to actually get. Whereas if it changes hands too often, it's just like another fight. Like, let's say, well, these two were the best fighters that night, but the next month, as you said, someone else beat him and took the belt, and then the other month, someone else beat him and took the belt. So, that's what makes champions like Joanna, like Mighty Mouse, they seem so impressive, and it's rather interesting to see. I mean, with Mighty Mouse, we're already even talking about possibly fighting at 135 against Dominic, because it's like, the UFC searched for a possible 125er that was going to beat him, and they failed. They even made the Ultimate Fighter based around a possible contender for Mighty Mouse. So, in a way, it is intriguing. That said, I also like seeing the champions actually fight. So if there's a lot of defenses, that's also good. Because sometimes, you get the champions that just keep the belt, and they're like, well, I'm injured, bye.
Well, so here's the thing. There's an old MMA saying that you're not really a champion until you defend it. Like, any given day, any given moment, a lucky punch or the right situation, you get a submission and you win, and now you call yourself the champion. But you're not really a champion until you defend it. That's the old saying, the old adage, right? And then there's the, you and I, we're both professional wrestling fans as well. I think that nothing did as much damage to the WWE title as that time in Raw where Triple H, they would welcome a new character, call it Goldberg or Steiner. They beat Triple H, and a month later, the next pay-per-view, Triple H wins it back, and he went from like 5 title reigns to like 14, like that. So that's also the feeling that I get here with these champions, that they get the title and they don't even defend it. Like, it just changes hands so quickly that you don't even get like someone to rally behind. I mean, with a guy like Paki, he's constantly changing his favorite fighter like every month, because he only roots for champions, right? So every time a title changes hand, he, his current favorite fighter becomes his ex-favorite fighter.
Yeah. Touche, Jay. My favorite fighter before he became champion was Conor McGregor.
Get the hell out of here.
Before he became champion.
I thought it was actually...
And I like
Big Rig.
And I like Big Rig before he became champion. Now, but I lost respect for Big Rig after that second fight with Robbie Lawler. This isn't like sport, like team sports, man. You can't stick with one fighter forever. Fighters die in this sport. And there's too many weight classes.
I disagree. Win or lose, I'm a really big fan of Anderson Silva. Win or lose,
Anderson Silva. Yeah. And you're saying I'm a front runner. Yeah. No.
Win or lose, man.
Anderson Silva.
He's been kind of cold now. You want to talk about losers that I'm a big fan of? I was a fan of Sonnen and everything he did. I'm a fan of John Jones. I'm a fan of Josh Koscheck.
And how much are those guys fighting? Now I understand why you're hating so much on UFC. Your favorite fighters don't fight anymore.
Correct. You are right.
This guy.
That's so sad.
But
it is.
all right, but what are these?
What?
Hold on. I'm gonna tell you, but what? What are these fighters doing now to captivate me the way that those fighters did? They're doing absolutely nothing. None of these dudes captivate me like those dudes. Okay, and then we have Conor McGregor talking all that shit, and then all he does is kick and punch. The moment he takes the fight to the ground, it's over for him. Like, he has no defense. This isn't a complete fighter to me. Like, it doesn't matter what situation you put Anderson Silva in. He's going to defend himself. It didn't matter what you did with Sonnen or Josh Koscheck. These are wrestlers. If you try to put him down, they knew how to fight their way out of it.
What?
GSP, as much as I don't like him, go ahead.
The only complete fighters the UFC has ever seen are GSP and Anderson Silva. Like, that you can say
and John
100%.
Jones.
Everybody else has weakness. No, well, yeah, and John Jones.
And not even
that's it. Those three.
Silva's wrestling wasn't really that good.
No, I disagree. Couture was not perfect,
but
well, none of them are perfect, homie. But I'm saying, like, they have a little bit of everything they need.
Well, that's what you just.
I didn't call anyone a perfect fighter. I said complete fighters. Complete fighters are not the same as perfect.
Honestly,
BJ Penn.
One of the most.
Before he aged, not 40-year-old BJ.
And at the end of the day, hold on, Amaury, sorry. And at the end of the day, that's fine. But I mean, I honestly don't know what is it that you would expect from these fighters to call you in, because Sonnen was a great trash talker, but he never backed it up. Conor McGregor backs it up.
I wouldn't say never. He got his wins.
Anderson Silva was a great striker, probably the best we've ever seen. And Stephen Thompson is a great striker. I mean, that's beautiful to watch how he uses both legs and hands.
I'm a fan of Stephen Thompson.
Well, there you go. But you can stick with fighters.
Well, how many times is Stephen Thompson going to fight every year?
Well, how many times is Anderson Silva fighting now, man? John Jones is suspended, and you say he's one of your favorites. You have to like somebody so you can keep enjoying the sport. I mean, this isn't a team thing.
They need to
unless you're personally related to the fighter.
They need to do more to bring me in, man. They're not doing enough. What I'm seeing week to week is not enough to bring me in.
And I'm going to tell you something.
Well, not to bring me in. I'm already in, but it's not enough to keep me interested.
The main reason I got on the big rig train was because I really liked not only the way he fought, but I liked his personality. Like, this guy smiles while he fights. I thought the guy was a maniac. And I'm going back to before he even fought GSP. I'm going way back. When he really stole me, he really stole me was when he fought Carlos Condit. To me, that was an awesome fight. And but besides that, I've always been attracted. If you look through the record of the fighters that I root for normally, I'm a Taekwondo black belt. I used to, fight in the national selection team for Dominican Republic in Taekwondo. I like guys that can use their legs to strike, and that's why I was a fan of Rory McDonald. And how was that being a front runner? And I'm still a fan of Rory McDonald, and I supported him to his last fight, which was against Stephen Thompson, if you don't remember. And he might not even come back to the UFC. Thompson. That's why I like Conor. No, I'm not all about Stephen Thompson. I'm all about Stephen Thompson in this fight.
Sure.
I have to pick a favorite.
All right.
I'm all about Conor McGregor. I thought this was clear. I'm a huge Conor McGregor fan. Conor McGregor and LeBron James should do artificial insemination and have the perfect baby.
That is disgusting. Speaking of Conor McGregor.
That escalated.
The main event.
Why don't you...
The main event of UFC 205 is a champion versus champion. The champion at 145 pounds, Conor McGregor, faces the champion of the 155-pound lightweight, Eddie Alvarez. I don't agree. I don't like the fact that if Eddie Alvarez wins, he doesn't get the 145-pound belt. I mean, the stakes should be even in both ways. Like, Eddie Alvarez can win, and it's just a title defense. Conor McGregor wins, and he gets history. This is bullshit, but whatever the hell ever, I think that Eddie Alvarez is going to romp right through Conor McGregor. Tell me why I'm wrong.
Honestly, though, I don't understand you, Jay. Before we talk about this, the moment Conor McGregor had me in as a fan was when he was in Ireland, I think. He was in a fight, I think it was Diego Brandao, and he's doing an interview and whatnot, and they call in Chad Mendes. And I think you heard it already. Chad is like, do you know what wrestling is? And Conor's like, I'm going to wrestle my balls on your forehead. And then, when they actually do fight, Conor gets taken to the ground for like 2 rounds. Conor comes back up and knocks him the fuck out. So I don't know, man. I really don't care if they have wrestling defense or not. When they can come back up and knock someone out, that's it, man. I mean, like, they were on the floor and not doing much, okay, but he came back.
So you started this by saying you don't understand me. What are you asking me there? I don't like...
Conor McGregor's hilarious.
Yeah, okay.
Some guys don't have, all the tools, but sometimes you don't need all the tools. I mean, Conor McGregor is a perfect example. He doesn't have the wrestling tool, but if you can't keep him down, he will knock you out.
All right, so I've said
I'll give you one simple reason why I think McGregor should win this match. If you saw the first round of McGregor versus Diaz 2, that's probably one of the best rounds McGregor has ever put together. And the way he was landing bombs that only Diaz can take, not only because Diaz is 170 pounds, is because Diaz has a brick jaw full of weed that doesn't understand pain. But I do not think there's any fighter under 170 that can withstand the strikes that Conor McGregor was putting in on Nate Diaz accurately, because that's the point. He wasn't even missing shots. Whatever shot he took, it was a strike. So if he comes with that accuracy, with that left hand on Eddie Alvarez, I don't think Eddie Alvarez will be able to take much of that punishment for long. I don't think it's going to be a first-round finish whatsoever. I expect this matchup to go a couple of rounds deep, but I also expect Conor McGregor to land the final blow. A lot of people are like, oh, his cardio. Well, Conor McGregor, even though his cardio dropped against Diaz, he was able to still land some pretty good punches late in the 5th, like real punches. And it's not the same fighting a 155-pounder who's going to come in at probably, around 165, 170. Nate Diaz that came in at 170 was probably fighting at 180. It's not going to be the same. It should be easier for Conor McGregor.
And not just that, you also have to think about the fact that Eddie Alvarez has fought a lot of fights, he's been in a lot of wars, and he's taken a lot of damage, Eventually, the chin does crack, and I think Conor is the guy to do it as well. Conor all the way.
Yeah, Eddie. I mean, no disrespect to Eddie Alvarez, and I have to say that Eddie Alvarez used to work, when he was an amateur fighter, he used to work in the warehouse for the company that I work for in Philadelphia. So, I know this guy has come from the ground. I don't personally know him, but I know other employees that do know him, and they talk great about him. Seems that Eddie Alvarez is a great guy. He's worked hard to get to where he is. No disrespect to him whatsoever. I think he's going to have a lot of success in the UFC regardless what happens with this fight. I just think Conor McGregor right now is too driven and too heads and shoulders over the competition. And he's not – a lot of people are using that Chad Mendes fight, to say, oh, he doesn't have a good ground game. And even the first Nate Diaz fight. But did you see his defense on the second Nate Diaz fight? Because to me, the first Nate Diaz fight means nothing if he fought him a second time, because you got to go by what happened the second time. And
what exactly was that defense?
A lot better. Diaz could not take him down. What?
Well, Diaz isn't really known as a guy to take you down. He didn't wrestle him down in the first fight. He punched him really hard. No, he didn't even punch him. He kneed him really hard. And while he was kneed, he kind of crumbled to the floor, chased him there, did a rear naked choke. He's not going to wrestle him. And his defense, I didn't see him stop like a lot of shots. First of all, Diaz was like 3 inches taller.
Oh, I mean takedown defense. I'm sorry. I meant takedown defense.
Correct. So takedown defense. When you try to take someone down, you shoot on them. So he didn't stop a lot of shots. So he didn't stop shots from Diaz because he doesn't really shoot. What Diaz does is he takes advantage of you falling and he just kind of falls on you and does whatever he needs to do on the floor, or he pulls guard. In this case, he couldn't do either because McGregor would kick him, leg kick him, do a punch here and there, and then run. There was a lot of jogging. His cardio was being worked on as he fought. There was a lot of running around and avoiding getting hit.
But he got away with it.
Okay, and he won that fight by a split decision, was it? You didn't prove shit to me.
I'm not sure it was a split or
majority.
I'm not sure it was split or unanimous.
It was not unanimous. I can tell you that outright. It was majority decision, whatever the hell that is.
Majority.
Yeah, whatever. That seems more rigged than this presidential election. This is fucking bullshit. McGregor has not proved shit to me.
Conor McGregor clearly won that fight.
Clearly bullshit. He so clearly won it that it was a majority decision. At least one of the judges said no.
And at the end of the day, we're missing the main point here that leads Conor McGregor to an advantage is the reach. Diaz is the only one that had a reach advantage on him. Again, McGregor is back to his ways, having a reach advantage. He should take out Eddie Alvarez, man. I'm sorry.
One thing that I do like about Eddie is that he's a very smart fighter. Like, he's not the striker that's just going to strike and stay striking even if he's losing. Like, Eddie might switch it up. He might take him down, which is one of the things I hated about Jose Aldo. And fighters like him as well. Like, I hate when I hear, oh, he's a jiu-jitsu black belt. It happens to JDS as well, that you never actually see him take someone down or actually use their jiu-jitsu. So you're like,
Roy Nelson.
He's a jiu-jitsu black belt. Well, I don't give a shit if he's a jiu-jitsu black belt if you're never actually going to see him use his jiu-jitsu. I think, and with Eddie, that's something that's very different. Like, he can actually strike or he can actually mix it up and, use his submissions and whatnot. So that's something to actually look out for.
This is not 145 pounds where Conor had the advantage of dropping to 145 for the weigh-ins and coming in at 160 to fight a dude that he was 3 or 4 inches taller than with the reach that you mentioned. This is same weight class, 155 pounds. They both hydrate. They'll be right around the same. I think his power takes a dip. I don't think he was hitting Nate Diaz all that hard, even though it's hard to tell because Diaz can take a really hard punch. And there are holes in his game that I believe Eddie Alvarez will exploit. That being said, that is my point on this. Yes, go ahead. Can we agree on what?
Can we all agree that this is Conor McGregor's weight class? Like, this is where he should be fighting. If he was going to have a weight class, it should be at 155. Can we agree with that? That's like his weight. That's where he should be.
I don't know what that proves. I'll agree with you, but whatever. I'm
not proving anything. I'm just saying.
I often disliked BJ Penn and the fact that he seemed like he was always bigger than 155. Like, he would always cut to make 155, and then he would just abuse him. He always looks head and shoulder bigger than everyone at 155, and he could obviously hang at 170. So this is kind of the bully mentality that I see in Conor McGregor. He drops to 145. He dominates there, but he just looks average everywhere else. I mean, Nate Diaz, for as much as you want to say, he's an average fighter. He's an average. Look at his record. He's an average fighter who doesn't really have much wrestling. He'll take advantage of you. He'll pull guard, like I mentioned earlier with jiu-jitsu. He takes a good punch. He's not as good as boxer as Nick Diaz. So do what you want with that. In any division outside of 145, he doesn't have that advantage.
Wait. Jay, if you're going to use the 145 weight class to say that he was bullying people at 145, then you have to use that same argument to understand that fighting Nate Diaz at 170, he was also over his head with weight in the weight class. Because he came in at 168. And don't tell me that he weighed at 168 and he came back the next day at 180. That's his natural weight, 168. He can cut to 155 and put up the 168 and come back the next fight at that weight class. And he could cut to 145 and come back at 160, which is what he was doing before. So if you're going to use one argument for one thing, you got to use them for both. And I honestly don't see anything wrong with any fighter, UFC or boxing, that is able, that their body is physically capable of cutting weight to a certain weight class so they can have an advantage. I see nothing wrong with that. I think it's what you're supposed to do as a fighter.
Right.
I'm actually not too fond with the whole idea of cutting weight. But that's, personal beliefs, not really
if you can, yeah, but in the meantime, the way the system is built, if you can cut it, do it. Do it and do it well. If it works for you, you got to do what's best for you. Why the fuck would you want to fight in a place where you don't have an advantage? That makes no sense when you can. Well,
Great.
only Conor McGregor does it.
So
because he's not afraid of anybody.
So he's good when he has an advantage. He looks average when he doesn't have an advantage. And right now, he's going to be on a level playing field. With a level playing field, it's going to be interesting to watch it. And honestly, if I had to put money on it, I'm putting it on Eddie Alvarez. All right. So we've gone a little bit long. I have a
question.
Go ahead.
If he does beat Eddie at a level playing field, are you going to get on the Conor McGregor train, airplane, spaceship,
good question,
submarine, container vessel?
No, because I have there's a little bit of Cousin Juan in me, and I'm not just going to jump ship because of that. I mean, my views didn't change on him when he beat Nate Diaz after having lost to him. Beating Eddie Alvarez is not going to do much for me anyway. Also, Eddie Alvarez, I've seen some of his highlights, but I don't know much about him before UFC. So it's not like you're proving a definite statement like beating an Anderson Silva where immediately I had respect for Chris Weidman. It's not the same thing.
Okay.
All right, well,
it is what it is. I guess we'll have to wait till Saturday so we can see if Conor McGregor changes your mind.
Well, let's see. I doubt he'll change my mind, but I just hope he gets me an interesting fight. So good luck to you guys on your picks. I hope you enjoy the match. Final thought before we go, where are you guys watching these fights?
A special thanks to Amaury for joining us today. It was pretty good to have another person's with some rational.
Okay, so Paki's on mute, and Amaury just left. All right, so while Paki talks it up and gives a bunch of thanks to Amaury, let me close the show. I don't know what happened there, Paki. You were talking, and Amaury just kind of dipped on the whole chat. Él está en Santo Domingo. Yo creo que se le fue la luz. Anyway, thank you guys for your participation. This was a really fun chat. Even though Amaury's not in the conversation right now, he'll hear the recording, and I just want to invite him to participate again the next time we cover another big UFC event. It was a pleasure talking to you guys. I hope the people listening enjoy this show. And all right, we'll talk more UFC after this Saturday. Good luck, everyone. Good night.
Please remember, before you hang up, before you let him go, Jay, we got another podcast episode coming soon with our League of Haters fantasy previews. So stay tuned, guys. Until the next one.
All right.